that we have a library. So online, at any moment, you can go and listen to the speakers we've had for the past months, which is awesome. And at the end of today, we will also have our delightful speaker from today online as well. So you can go to the YouTube libraries online at Unity Kitchener and Unity Ottawa. Just go into YouTube and then put either of those words, and you will find yourself with some great Unity speakers. So our today's guest is the marvelous Dr. Anne Therriault, and she's a wonderful spouse to me and a great mom to 3 wonderful kids. She is a planetary geologist. So don't bring your medical concerns to her as doctor. She will be able to talk to you about your rocks, though. So bring your rocks to the next in-person service, and she'll be able to tell you a lot about those. She's from Therriault, Quebec. So she actually didn't speak English until she was 18, starting with watching The Price is Right. So it's very interesting how television has supported many people in gaining a new language. She's excited to be speaking with us today about Shall We Dance? So I'm just going to let her tell you the rest, and we will go from there. Just a minute. Go.
Well, thank you and good morning. It's definitely a pleasure for me to be here, and thank you for inviting me to talk again. I would like to start by asking you a question. Do you like line dancing? And really what I'm asking is show of hands, those of you that have experienced line dancing or that would like to try it. You can use your virtual raise hand button or just wave your hand if you'd like to try line dancing. Okay, good. Well, you're in luck because USCO is having a line dancing event in person and online in late September. So stay tuned. You're going to get your wish. But why am I really bringing up line dancing this morning? Well, you know, line dancing has to do with following prescribed or dictated steps. And if you don't follow those steps, you stand out. I'm not so good at following prescribed steps or orders, so I often stand out. But truly, what's the problem here? For me, it's like this idea of having to relinquish control. I don't know about you, but I like to have control. I need control. And in fact, control is a fundamental need, just as much as acceptance and safety and security is. Control is a fundamental need. If you think of the pyramid of Maslow, you know, those 5 layers, with the bottom one being physiological needs, you know, for your survival, you have to have shelter, food, drink. Well, it goes all the way up to the top level, which is, you know, you climb up to the self-actualization. Well, level 2 has to do with safety and security, and that's where you find control. It says that at level 2, people want to experience order, predictability, and control in their lives. So control is a fundamental need. How do we control? What do we control? I'm sure you are familiar with the saying, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sail. That saying is credited to the historian Berta Calloway in a book from 1998 called A Shining Thread of Hope, The History of Black Women in America. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sail. So you're going to agree with me, we can't control weather. As much as we would like to, we don't control weather. We don't control the past, and we don't control others' opinion. You cannot control others, and they cannot control you as much as you would like to control others. You can only coerce them to your ways or be coerced in theirs. There's still such a thing as free will. We have dominion over ourselves. But we do control our emotions, control our words, our response. I can control my self-awareness, how I treat others. We control the stories we tell the first time, but we might have to be careful that they don't end up controlling us afterwards into how we feel and we act. Let me quote Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders from Unity. In his book, Keep a Truant from 1953, he states, the power to control his thinking is the highest gift given to man. So that's true. For sure, we can control our thoughts. What about the future? What about results? Can we control those? To illustrate the concept of control in relation to Unity teachings, fundamental needs, and levels of consciousness, I will use 3 styles of dancing. In addition, I will discuss what you will gain by letting go, releasing, or losing control. And that is losing control to the source of all control, God, the one power, one presence, the loving source. Shall we dance? Are you ready to lose control? Merle Fillmore, the other co-founder of Unity, her healing letters were published in 1936. And in one of them, she writes, Unity does emphasize control of the physical by the spiritual. But many of the things that we do and expect to control are not spiritual in the sense that they are in accord with God's laws and plans. The real control is in living according to the perfect pattern and law. Let's see if we can dance ourselves through that. I would like you to put in your mind Zumba dance. Zumba was created in the 1990s by dancer and choreographer Lou Shan, an aerobics instructor in Cali, Colombia. Oh, and by the way, Colombia. Did you know that Unity has several centers in Colombia? Anyway, for those of you that have not experienced Zumba, it's essentially a one person in front of a bunch of people, leading them into movement and exercises along dynamic music. I was blessed to have tried Zumba. My oldest daughter, a few years back, was in college and she was enrolled in Zumba classes. And she enjoyed them so much that she invited myself and her younger sister to join her for one class. And I looked at her and I said, don't you know how I deal with line dancing? Not very good at following instruction. I don't think Zumba is for me. And she said, but it's so much fun. You have to try it. I said, oh, fun? I'm in. So my daughters, the 2 of them, and myself joined this class this one night. So imagine you get into this room, and it's a big room, and this one wall is full of mirrors, and you're facing that. And the instructor is actually back to that mirror facing us. And there's about a dozen of us spread in this room because, we're going to be jumping and dancing and making moves. So we have to allow for space around ourselves. And the idea is that as she's facing us, we are to mirror her moves on the music. And so when she goes right, we are to go left. Yes, let's see how Anne did with that. So the instructor press on the music and she starts her movement. She goes right, I go right. Because in my brain, she's going right, so I go right. So here I am now doing the opposite of everybody else around me. What happens? Now I feel embarrassed and I can't really follow all these moves. They're a bit too fast for me anyway. So now I'm getting silly because I'm trying to hide my embarrassment. And now what am I doing is I'm competing for control because I feel that I am now losing my self-esteem. I feel that I don't belong. I'm not being accepted, right? People are judging me. Well, what's that? That has to do with this idea of control, to protect my ego, to have that need of belonging and that need of esteem. That's on that Maslow pyramid, are level 3 and 4. Level 3, love and belonging, and level 4, self-esteem. And Maslow actually split esteem into two categories. The first one has to do with esteem of oneself, dignity, achievement, mastery, and independence. And the second one has to do with the desire for reputation or respect from others. And truly, esteem is the typical human desire to be accepted and valued by others. So in my scenario, I am seeing myself as a victim here. I have no choice to follow the directions, but yet I am not being able to follow. I feel ashamed. I feel I don't belong, and my self-esteem is taking a hit. So I see myself as a victim. Where have we heard this word victim? If I make you think of 4 stages of consciousness, this idea of 4 stages of consciousness was brought up in the 1980s by Michael Bernard Beckwith, a spiritual teacher from the Agape International. And he coined the 4 stages as to me, by me, through me, and as me. In unity, we refer to levels of consciousness, not stages, but levels of consciousness. And we have named them the 4 V's: the victim consciousness, the victor consciousness, the vessel consciousness, and the verity consciousness. So this victim consciousness, the to me consciousness, its characteristic is little or no control. This idea of not having control over what's happening, being powerless, having a sense of low or no self-esteem. Does that ring a bell now? This is what I was talking to you about, my experience with Zumba. I was in that victim consciousness. I was focusing on my ego needs. I was focusing on my senses. I was in that wanting mode. Now, I want you to think about salsa dance. Salsa dance, a lot of people know about salsa. It's a Latin American dance. It's a mixture of Cuban and American dances, and it often requires a partner. I love salsa. Not very good at it yet, but I love salsa. And I like to do salsa dancing with my spouse. And because I'm a novice and I'm not too good at it, and she is much better than I am, I have to relinquish control. So I cannot be the leader. I have to be the follower. But that's me deciding that I'm making a conscious decision to let go of my control here because I want to enjoy that dance. I want to have a great moment and embrace it, right? And I want to grow. I want to be better. So I want to feed my self-worth and my self-esteem. So this idea of salsa dance now, it's that it's okay for me to relinquish control when it's under my terms. I am now in a victor consciousness. You know, I have some ability to control and to experience, and I'm conscious of choosing that. I am developing my self-worth and my self-esteem in doing so. This is the victor by me consciousness of unity. I have gone from this victim consciousness of wanting to this victor consciousness of doing. What I find interesting is that in this book, Heart-Centered Metaphysics, Paul Hasselbeck, who's a very well-known unity minister, wrote that in order to be a victor, there must be a victim. Now, I want you to put yourself back into that salsa mode. It's not that I'm the victor and my spouse is the victim here. I am both the victor and the victim. I am still in that mode of potentially reverting back into the victim, but I am if I am embracing the control and I am relinquishing some of it, I am a victor. So this intrinsic partnership between victor and victim is interesting. Now, I would like you to think of freelance style, freestyle dancing. Like, when you're free to dance and to do the moves that you want. Imagine your favorite music to dance to and see yourself dancing, moving to the sound of the music. And you're moving to the beat, right? And you don't care about what people think and what you look like. You're embracing your expression of this music and you are just feeling it and you are expressing it. That is self-actualization, is allowing that to happen. We're now at that, we've done that climb, we're at that 5th level of Maslow's fundamental needs. This idea of fulfillment, self-fulfillment. I am choosing to let go. I am choosing to embrace. And to quote a lesson from Unity's correspondence school, you have to realize that when Unity started way back, it was a correspondence school. It was sending out lessons to people by mail. And in one of those series, the 2nd series, lesson 10, has to do with will and understanding. And here's what it says at one point. Giving up to the will of God is not a negative process. It consists in accepting one's deepest and truest impulses as the will of God and giving these impulses expression. So you see this idea of freelancing, that dance, that you're actually allowing for those true deepest impulse in you to come up. That's good. The divine will is always good, is only good. So you can allow and let go. So we've gone from a space of desire, wanting, doing, and we've gone to this acceptance stage, which is allowing and embracing and surrendering. This is vessel, in me as me consciousness, and verity consciousness. Vessel consciousness in the fact that I understand that there's something bigger, there's something greater, that I am an instrument, a conduit. So this music is flowing through me and I'm expressing it. I am in my spiritual growth. I am developing my intuition. I'm choosing divine will and I'm surrendering to it. I am now in that phase of becoming. And in verity, it is the phase of being. In that lessons on will and understanding, it states that yet this renunciation of limited concepts of self can be and must be made before man can enter into the realization of what the will of God is. So what that's saying is that no, you don't have to skip the victim and the vessel consciousness. You have to go through those. You have to learn what is personal control. You have to manage that in order to be able to get to that level of divine will, that level of vessel and verity. And actually, Unity teaches that as spiritual beings, we have control over our powers and their expressions. The problem is that we often forget and we do not recognize and accept or use our right to control our powers. And that's when adverse conditions form in our body or in our affairs. In order to exercise control over our powers and their expression, we must claim, manifest, and live our powers of understanding and will. We have to recognize and acknowledge our Christ consciousness by practicing denial, affirmation, meditation, prayer, and aligning our thoughts with the Christ mind. So now we're in this verity is me consciousness, Christ consciousness, this unification, right? Being one with the music, being one with oneness. There's no more the music and me. There's no more the one power, one presence in me. It's us. It's that being. That lesson on will and understanding continues and says, in divine order, will works from within, from the I am, instead of from the outer consciousness. So you see, so we are now in that self-actualization space. We're no longer in the basic and the let me remember myself, the basic and the psychological needs of Maslow. We are gone to the actual fulfillment needs. And the lessons continue in divine order. Will works from within, from the I am, instead of from the outer consciousness. When man learns to go within and makes himself consciously one with the supreme will, he will be able to control and direct all the functions of the body, as well as the activities of the mind and the heart, that is, thinking and feeling. So unity teaches us how to navigate through the levels of consciousness by learning how to manage our personal control first. We can learn to let go and surrender to divine will, which is only good. So we go from this mode of wanting, victim, to doing, be a victor, to becoming, now being that vessel, to finally being this being, verity. And you can vary depending on the situation you're in. You may still go up and down in these levels. Not that once you've graduated from victim, you'll never go back to victim. There might be instances that you do. And this verity consciousness, being one with oneness, is so big that I don't think that we can stay in there that much. But that's for another talk, which I'm sure we will get one day from a spiritual leader that we also lack. So for today, let's go back to what Myrtle said in her letters, healing letters. The real control is in living according to the perfect pattern and law. So the real control is in living according to divine will. Take note when you are trying to take control. If it's related to yourself that you need the control, release and let go, let God. Ask yourself, what do you really want? And if you want control related to others, ask yourself, why do I need control? What do I really want for myself, others, and the relationship in the long term? By letting go, releasing control to divine will, you will reach and remain at peace, inner peace. Remember the daily word? And you will radiate joy and happiness. We already had this wonderful prayer from Mary, bringing us to releasing control. You will be able to control and direct all the function of your body, as well as your mind and heart, if you release that control back to the divine will. You will be able to control your thinking and your feeling. Are you ready to lose control?
Thank you, Anne. That was wonderful.
Tapping into the wisdom and the potency of divine mind and God's divine potential, we pray. I am no longer held hostage in the recesses of my own mind by any fearful, hurtful, painful, or uncomfortable experiences. As I exhale my next breath, I release any emotion or belief that no longer serves me, that may be lodged in the very cellular level of my being. I am free to create a new reality, a new normal that is sustaining and life-giving. I am a vibrational match for healing and peace. I am supported by divine love's grace as I tap into the boldness of my ancient divine self. I decree, God's got this, and I am grateful. God's got this, and I am grateful. I trust I am healed on every level now, as the sacred wisdom of universal truth echoes through me energetically present in this intention. In faith, I now release this word into the atmosphere and joyously witness its swift manifestation into existence in my life, my emotions, and all of my affairs. And so it is. Namaste.